Okay, so yesterday we just completed by creating our baselines, right? We are ready to start executing our project, but before that, lot of things have to be arranged for the execution. So a lot of things, different things what you would like to do. I'll just show you before some, execution, what all the things are required. A couple of topics what we're going to do today. We're going to see user defined fields. You call it as UDF. Usually it is known as UDF, user defined fields. Second, we'll be learning about global change. Third topic, probably if time permits, we'll also learn about issues and thresholds. Alright, so to start with, user defined fields. Now what is user defined fields? The name itself tells you it's user defined field. Now these fields what you are seeing, we call it as a columns, right? These fields what you call it as? You call it as a columns. I call them as a predefined field. These columns are predefined. When I call BL start 1, why does it take only dates? Can I type number? Can I type anything alphabets there? Answer is no, because this field is already predefined that this has to be a calendar. The moment I pop down this, what I get is calendar. I cannot do anything else apart from this dates and all, right? But this is a text. I can type here. I can type whatever I want, because this is an activity name where the field has been defined as text. This field is defined for cost, right? So that's the reason why it is coming with some number. It could be rupees, dollars, or any exchange rates you would like to, but this comes as a cost. Here we will not be able to see any dates. Here we will not be able to see anything else apart from the cost, right? This is again a text, because that's the reason why you have alphabets and numbers as well. So these columns are known as predefined fields. Now what I want, we want something which is very customized, which is not there in Primavera, and that a user want to define it. You understand? In simple words, I want to create a column, my own column, where I want to define that what this column should have, what will be the input. Everything is customized. So I want a column here. How do I create that column, which is not there in Primavera? You know how many columns are there, right? When you go to this columns option, you will find so many things are there. These all are the things which you will be able to find it as a column, which is already there. These all are columns which are predefined. Assume I want something like, I want to see the calendar. The moment I bring it on this side, I will see that what particular calendar has been assigned to these activities. This is predefined. You can see here, all my activities have some calendar called as test. Yeah. So this is predefined, right? So I want something new. I want something my own new column, and that could be a user, that is known as user defined columns or user defined fields. Now how do we create that user defined fields? There's an option here. When you go to this option called as enterprise, here you have an option called as user defined fields. In enterprise, you have an option called as user defined fields, right? In this user defined fields, now the question arises, where do you want to create this column, or where do you want to see this column, or where do you want to insert this column? When I say where, into which page? Because you know that we have activities page, we have projects page, we have resource pages, and so on and so forth. We have a lot of other pages, issues, expenses. So for everything we have a new page. So where do you want to insert this column, right? So this is right now I'm into an activity page. I want to insert a column in activity page, or I want to insert a column in project page. So you'll have to decide that. So when I go to this enterprise user defined fields, it asks you a question, where do you want to create this user defined fields? Here the pop down is, these are all the pages where I can create my customized columns. I can create in the WBS page, risk page, resource page, projects page, project expenses page, issues, activity steps, all this stuff. Right now I am selecting activity, means I want to create a column, a separate column, my own customized column, and that's on for this activity page. Here I'll say add. The moment I click on this add, you can see here there's a new particular title, or the new bar has got added, and there's a title, means the name of the column I have to type. What do you want to create? What is a new column you want to create? Assume that I want something like reference IDs or something on text basis. If I have to tell you, okay, I'll add something called as note. This note was not available, or it is not available by default in Primavera. So I have created a note as a column, or a defined field, and there is something called as data type. What is data type? Data type means it's a input. What is that input you want to give? Input is very important. If I keep it as a note here and I select here number, then the note what you will be creating, the column what you will insert as a note, you cannot type text there. You will have to type only numbers. Understanding? So you will have to be very careful while selecting the data type. What is the data type? If you select it as a date, then you will find a calendar there into the columns. I'll show you that also one. Let me complete this. I have created note as a title name and the input as text, and then I'll say close. Means I have already created the column. It's only to insert now, right? Here if I have to go to this columns option, there is something called as user defined here. You can see here it's something called as user defined. I'll go into this. You can see this note what I have created is here, right? I'll bring it on other side for the selected options and then say apply. You can see this column has come here, note what we just created, and you can type because you have given text, right? If I want to give a note of this particular surveying, I'm just typing a note, whatever I feel like I want to take it into, so I am creating a note of that you can create as much as you want. Descriptions, reference IDs, vendor names, something which is not there by default, and you want to have a note, or you want a separate column for that, then you can create as much as you want. Right, this is a column which I have created, a customized column which was not there in Primavera, and I have given input as text, so whatever I want I can type. Now if I have to show you something and any other, I'll add a column here. I've created as an expected start, and this is going to be a start date. Input I want it into a date, right? I need a calendar, so expected start I'll put as a date. I'll say close. I'll again go to the column. I'll go to the user defined field. I'll search for where is my expected start. I'll select this. I'll bring it on the other side. I'll say apply. Okay, you can see this expected start date has come in. Right now if I have to just browse this, you can see this, it is giving me a calendar. When I created note as a column, it was, the input is text, I can type, but here I created as an expected start, as an data type was start date, right? So I can give a dates, I can give dates. This column was not there. I'm I'm assuming something and I'm telling what could be an expected date. I'm not telling that I'm rescheduling anything yet. You can create as many as you want, as customized you want. You can say this cost, finish date, indicator, integer, number, start date, and text. These are the data types what we have. Using these data types, you can customize the columns. You can create your own columns. These will be the inputs. Understanding? These will be the inputs. If you want only an integer to be typed, then you can use integers. You know what is integer, right? So you can use integers. If you want indicators are okay. There might be something indicator here. Gate state, health is there, health. No, I'll add one. I'll show it as HEALTHY, health, or health, healthy, health and safety, health and safety. And I'll make this as indicator. Now the input is not a text, not a cost, not a calendar, not an integer number. It's an indicator. Now what is this indicator? It has some symbols, right? I'll show you what are those symbols now. I'll go to this columns, user defined fields. I'll look for health and safety. I'll bring it on the other side. Apply OK. You can see this. It has come here. Now you can see these are some of the symbols. Now the question is, are these symbols can be customizable or can we add anything into this? Answer is no. These are default symbols or the indicators what we have, and you will have to make a legend. You means you have to create a legend of this to make them understand that what do you mean by this red, yellow, green and blue. Usually we know what are these symbols, right? This is red, you can see what it is, cross or red symbol, what it says, and this warning symbol, this is means properly done or good, and this is excellent. So these are the four options which are there. You can use it as an indicator. I have made as in health and safety for an high priority health and safety, or if you want to have a monitoring levels through an indicator, then you can use this. You can see where what particular status of health and safeties are, where there is a warning, where there is everything fine, where there is out of control, and where there is excellent. So it can be an indicator. You can however you want to use it, whatever the name you want to give, you can use it as the priorities or whatever you want. So you can create your own columns. So that's all about user defined fields. There's a lot more actually. I'll show you one after the other, but that's all for now. You can do this for anything. Right now we have done it for activities page. If you want to do it for projects page, you have to select this projects here and then you have to say add. When you do it for projects page, you cannot insert here in this activity columns, because you will have to go to the project page, and then when you go to this project, when you're there in project page and go to the columns and then say customize, you will get user defined fields for projects, right? If you create it in activity and if you are searching here, you will not get it. If you have created for activities, you will not be able to find it here in user defined field in project page. Okay, that you have to remember. So if you have created user defined field for projects page, then you will have to come and search it here, customize user defined fields, and then you will have to find out here, and then you have to bring it on the other side. Understanding? You need to be very careful while creating where you are doing it. By default, what people will do, they feel user defined field is just user defined field, they create everything here. That will not happen. You will have to select on which particular page you want to do. For example, I'll show you one more. I'll go to this activity resource assignments. Okay, I'm clicking on this, I'm adding it. So I'll add I'm going to add a material quantity. Material quantity is one of the columns which I am adding it here, which is not there by default, and I want it to be a number. I am creating it as a number. Okay, and then I will say close. Now where did I create? See, this was a problem. This is a problem. If it was a classroom, I would have asked you and you would have answered me. Now where did I create is, I have created under activity resource assignments page, not under activity page. I cannot assign it here. You know, if I have to go here and show you, it's material, no, M. You can see there is only one, that is maintenance walk down completed. So there's nothing called as material here. So you cannot assign it here because you have created for activity resource assignment page. Now where it is, this is activity, this is a resource assignment page. Right here we have in this detail window, no, this is called as activity resource assignment page. Now for this particular page we are creating in column, we have created in column. Here I can insert. Now how do I do that? Here I'll right click, customize resource columns. You can see here we have a user defined, and you can see there is something called as material quantity here, and now I can bring it wherever I want. I'll say apply. Okay, and you can see here I have come here to this option called as material quantity. I can insert here. Now I have given input what? Numbers, right? If I give alphabet, what will happen? It says it's invalid because you are typing text there. Your input is not proper because your input has to be only numbers, because I have given input as numbers. Remember, what is your, you need to know what should be your input. One, second, where you are creating it, for which particular page you want to create it, so that you created that page and then go to that particular page and insert that column. Understanding? Alright, so I guess I have given 4-5 examples sufficient. User defined fields, select which particular page you want to create this user defined field. Probably if it is for projects, select a project and then say add, then give what is that you want to create a column, what is an input of that, and then say close. Then when you will have to go to the project page, go to this columns option, customize, and then you will have to go to this user defined field to see that it has been there, and then you have to bring it and select it to the selected options page and then say OK. The moment you do that, it will be appearing it here. Okay, simple, understood. The problem is many of you have not asked me any questions because I am pretty sure that you people are not practicing. So but still you will have a lot of problems when you start doing it. When it's really have a requirement of yours, then you'll start doing it probably. So we had a discussion, good amount of discussion today with your professors, and then we have decided that I do not want to tell you now, but still we have decided that the classes will happen on alternate days, not daily. From here on, I'll also put it into a group, WhatsApp group. The classes will go on alternate days, not daily. The reason is very simple, that they feel that we are not practicing or you are not practicing, so whatever I do it today will give you an assignments, and then you will have to do it immediately onto the next day. So when you keep on practicing it, then only the interest will also come, and you'll also have a lot of doubts and all. So we'll not have class tomorrow, but we'll have it on Monday. Again, we'll not have it on Tuesday. So alternate days we'll have a classes. We'll give you an assignments, and what is happened to an assignment is also that somebody will have to monitor it, and they have told they'll take care of it. Okay. All right. So my point, why did I say that? Because there are few problems which when you are starting when you start practicing, there are some problems which you will face it for sure, and those problems are like calendars. very tricky. Why? Because when you create a calendar initially and then you assign it to the project, lot many times when you start practicing, you forget to create a calendar again and again, because you know that how to create a calendar and assign it. You feel that it's okay. If it is not created also, it's fine. Anyway, there is a default calendar which is there for a project, so why to waste time again every time to create a new calendar. So what you do, you create a project. Anyway, by default there is a calendar for that. Then you create WBS, and then you create activities, then you start giving your relationships, then you create resources, and then start adding the resources to it. But then you will start finding that there is lots of problem. The time it is not taking properly, the cost it is not taking properly, you are telling it 5 days but it is taking something else. You are giving 200 rupees per day, it is taking something else. You'll start finding these problems. Then you will come to know that okay, there is a problem of calendar, and then when you go and click on this activity, it shows the project has a different calendar, activity has a different calendar. Usually happens because default calendars are different, the calendar which has been assigned is different. So you can see right now my project is having my activities is having a calendar called as test. Now what if I want to change this calendar? Somebody is still knocking now. Just a minute. Okay, my question is, what if I want to change a calendar somewhere in between? Possibilities are there, right? Think practically. I'm not telling that you have forgotten something and then you want to add something later. No, I'm telling the project is somewhere in between, and there are lots of changes which is happening, and according to that we want to change our schedule, we want to change the calendar, the way we are working. Probably early it was a 6 days a week, and then I want to make it a 7 days a week now. There's no Sunday holiday. I want to do a lot of changes to my calendar, or I want to change my whole calendar itself. How do I do that? Probably there are two ways to do it. One, either I have to click on this activity, then go to this option in detail window, go to this general detail window, and then there's an option called as activity calendar. There you will have to browse and select the calendar whichever you want to select, and then say okay, assign. But what will happen when I do this? When I assume this, I want to make it as 6 into 9. 724 is too much. Okay, I'll use this 6 into 9. I don't know what it is, but I'll use that calendar now. Now you can see for this activity I've changed the calendar called as 6 into 9. Means this particular activity will work on 6 days and for 9 hours. But how about other activity? Now all the other activities still using test calendar. Can be possible. One particular activity can be at a night shift. Assume a precasting of the work is happening, and the gridders, we are talking about metro, or we are talking about some bridge construction, and it's exactly onto the road. So we cannot do it on a daytime. There's a lot of traffic, and also probably we do not want to do it on a daytime. And this particular, it's all pillars and everything is precasted. Only the gridder has to come and get locked now. So this gridders comes at night and then have to be installed. Now this gridder installation is happening at night time. It's a night shift activity. Now the whole project is on a day shift. My calendar for the whole project is different. Only for that gridder activity the calendar is different. Right? So for a specific activity I can change the calendar. I can select that particular activity. I'll select an activity, and then I'll go to this activity calendar. I can change the calendar only to that specific activity, so that only that activity's dates, the working time and the start time, end time, everything will change. But the question what I started was not to change a specific activity, but I want to change for all the activities. Just by going to this option called as projects, defaults, and then see here 5 into 10 is my project calendar. My activity have test as a calendar. You can see here, activities have a calendar called as test. Project has a calendar called as 5x10. How is this possible? By just changing the calendar at this project's default option, it will not get implemented on your activities. I'll repeat, by just changing onto this calendar into defaults, it will not implement on your activities. For the first time, before you create a schedule, yes, you change the calendar in the projects page in the defaults, then it will also be implemented to the activities. But once the activities are scheduled, no matter you change the default calendar of your project, your activities will not get changed. On the calendar of your activities will not get changed. So to do that, there is an option where if something you want to change completely, there is an option through which you have to change it. Okay, I'll try to show you now. I just created a scenario. Now this scenario, you must have asked me this question, sir. I am trying to change the calendar but is not changing, because you people haven't practiced much, so probably this doubt is not have come till now, at least now. I hope so you people will start doing it. But how do we do that? I'll show you now. You go to this option called as tools. There's an option called as global change. The moment you click on this global change, and here there's an option called as new. There's so many times I've changed so many things, so there are a lot of options available here. I'll just say new. The moment I click on new, you can probably change this name also. I'll just give it as ABC, the global change name, or you can type it as a new calendar or whatever you want. Now again, just like the filter, if you remember, when we were creating a new filters and new grouping and all, similarly there's a parameters here. These parameters has to match to change something. Now I'll say where calendar is equal to, now I'll have to bring test. I'm creating a parameter here. I'm telling where calendar is equal to test, and you can see here the selected subject area is activities, where I'm changing this for activities, right? So I'm doing these changes in activities page, where a calendar is equal to test. There is an option called as then. Click on this and then say add. Okay, there's a parameter getting added where calendar is equal to test. Then I'll say calendar is equal to you understanding? You understood what I am trying to do? I am trying to change all the activities calendar at once. Manually doing it on each and every activity will take lot of time. Assuming there are 4,000 activities, 3,000, 4,000 activities, changing it each and individual will take lot of time. So what I'm doing, I'm trying to change everything at once. I'm selecting a parameter where calendar is equal to test, then calendar should be equal to GIT. I'll say change. So you can see here where all it is getting changed. Which all activities, wherever there was a test, it is getting converted to GIT. I'll say commit the changes. Do you want to save the log? It gets saved into your C drive of a log. I'll say OK. And I'll say OK. I'll say close. Now you can see here, you click on any activity, you can see here the calendar has got changed to GIT. Where it was test early, right? Early the calendar was test. Now all your activities have got scheduled with respect to the calendar called as GIT. We have changed the calendar of all the activities at once. Something else I would like to show you. There is something called as at completion cost. Let us do it on something on this. I'll go to an option called as user defined fields. I'll merge both the options and tell you something. At completion cost, right? I'll add something here into this activity page. I'll say it as at or client cost is already there, so usually that is known as client's cost only. Can I call it as something else? Okay, I'll call it as expected final cost. Okay, it is usually known as client cost. There's one already client cost available here, so I did not create as a client cost. I'll call it as expected final cost. Usually, what do you mean by this expected final cost? Now this cost, what you are seeing, this cost is all with respect to your raw material, machineries, expenses and all, right? But this is not the cost what you want to show it to your client. Do you want to show the same cost? Then he'll pay only so much. Don't you want any profits of your company? How do you take? You will tell that with all the expenses, whatever happens, you will have 5% or 10% extra to that. No. For each and every activity, you will have to add your profit to it, and then you will have to show the expenses. That is a final cost. I call it as a client's cost. These cost what you are seeing right now is the expenses of a company. There is no profits in this, right? Expenses plus the amount of profit becomes your client's cost or the final expected cost of the project. Alright, so now I have created already as a final expected cost, right? I'll bring it down here. Expected final cost. Yeah, I was looking into final expected cost. Okay, so there was a little confusion. I'll put it here, say apply. Okay, we have a expected final cost here. Everything is 0 right now. This we have just did we give it as a cost input? I think I did not do that. It is text. I'll change it to the cost. Alright, so expected final cost, the input is a cost actually, so I changed it to the cost, which I had forgotten. So yeah, it's coming now. Alright, so what we have to do, what I'll do, I'll tell you. I'll go to this option called as global change. I'll say new, again give whatever the name you want to this. Now here I'll bring at completion cost. Okay, at completion total cost. So at completion total cost is equal to or greater than, do we have option? Yeah, is greater than or equal to, you can say this, let me make it bigger, is greater than or equal to 0. Then I'll say add, or if for 0 I do not want to consider, I will just take it as 1 rupee. Anything which is 0 I do not want to add any cost of that. So here now what was that we have created? Expected final cost, no? So here it is, expected final cost is equal to, I'm just trying to create a formula here. Okay, it's not a formula, but just to make you understand, I'll bring at completion cost, at completion, where'd that go? At completion total cost You can give multiply with so much percentage or whatever it is. I'll just add some number to show you. Assume this is for every activity I want to add 1000 rupees, right? And then say change. I'll say yes. Okay, yes, save, replace, say OK, say close. You can see here the expected final cost is, if this is 5050, then it is coming 7050 with your profits. We have just added. You can add into percentages also, or you can add separately also. You need not to be formulated this, but you can create your own column and then you can add that particular expense throughout. Now usually what happens, there will be a one expenses which will come into the end of the project or somewhere, but I do not want to show that as one of the expenses to the client, and I want to distribute throughout the project. I want to add that to throughout the project, so that I can add it like this. I can add it equally or distribute it equally to all my activities. So something like that. How do you want to distribute? You can decide it. But this is the column what did I create, and I did not enter anything manually here. You can create your own formula and then you can add it, right? So what will happen if I change number here? Now this is 2800. It was at completion cost, right? But if I increase the resources and add completion cost increases to 2800 becomes 3800, automatically there will be a change here also in the expected final cost. Okay, so there is any changes here you do, here it will also get affected because it is formulated. That's very simple, just like what we do it in Excel. Simply. Okay, so with this global change, what are the things you can do? You can change anything to the columns at once at any point of time. You can create this. You can create a separate columns and then you can apply formulas to that through any global changes. And again, that global change also will give you an option that where do you want to change it globally, means on which particular change you want to create this. When the moment you click on add, it will ask you what is the subject area. So there is only activities, activity resource assignments, or project expenses. So whichever you select here, based upon that you will be able to create the parameters. Okay, understood? So what all we have learned today? We have learned about user defined fields. We understood and learned about this global change. Okay, all right. As I told you, there's another topic which we want to learn, that is called as issues and thresholds. Issues are not good, right? Issues are problems. Identifying an issue is one, registering that issue, monitoring the issue, and then closing the issue is the other part of it. Issues are parts of our projects. It's a part of our project. We cannot ignore it. Issues cannot be ignored. It has to be given attention to it. Why usually issues happens? Lots of reasons are there. Lack of planning, where exigencies, a lot of things are there where issues happens. Some accidents are there. Issue happens. Now what after? If the issues are there, then how do you deal that issue, and when do you want to close that issue? Is that also the plan which we have to create simultaneously? And all these issues have to be registered very importantly, because these issues becomes, or the response plans to the issues becomes a lessons registered. That means it's a documentation called as lessons registered. So I use that word, or it's in a very simple way. It's in learning for this type of projects or type of work what we have done. Issues can be divided and distributed into n number of categories. Example, technical issues are different, economical issues are different, procurement issues are different, land acquisition is the legal issues are there, antiquities, legal issues are there. Issues can be distributed into a lot many categories, as much as you want. In fact, we can create the issue categories also, and then you will have to register those issues. If any issue is there in your project, in your activities, onto your resource, whichever, wherever it is, have to be created, has to be registered. Whenever I teach, when I start teaching this, I say how to create an issue. I'll show you. It makes little, why anybody want to create an issue. That does not mean that I want to create an issue. I just want to show you how that issue can be registered by creating in your Primavera. We definitely do not want to create an issue. Nobody wants. But the issue which is already created, how do you register that using Primavera is that what we are learning. Okay. So how do we register that issue into a Primavera is by clicking this option called as project. In this project tab, you have an option called as issues. The moment you click on this issue, you will find that there's one more new page is coming up called as project issues. Right? Here you can see there's already some issue which has been added to this project, that is called as accident, and on some particular WBS, some particular project, it is for whole project they have assigned it. You can create as much as you want. Means and this is what will happen. Yes, of course, yes, we do not want to create issues as I told you, but you can register any issues which has been happening, which whatever the issue has happened, you can register it here in Primavera. So this is a issue name. You will have to type an issue name. Like for example, like honeycomb is the issue. It's a technical issue, right? So, or anything you want, like this is just an issue where you will have to go to and select on which particular, okay, it is there in substructure, superstructure, right? So here in the columns, this honeycomb problem is there in this column. So I'm just selecting that WBS here and then select. You can see this is specifically been selected to one particular WBS, and then this is not required actually. I'll just remove. Somebody have brought it, or it's okay, let it be here, we'll see it later. The next column is called as status. Here when you pop down this, there are three status here. Either the issue is open or on hold or closed. You understand what is open, you understand what is closed, right? Open is still issue is going on, closed is the issue is completed and the issue is closed. On hold status is issue is there, but right now I do not want to resolve it. Or issue has been identified, but the impacts of this, or do we really want to resolve this issue, or this issue will affect our project, is something unknown. So we just want to keep hold of that issue, or what to do with that issue is still unknown. How do we resolve that issue is still unknown. So that time what we do, we do not keep it as open, because you have to take some decision on it. Because the moment when you generate a report, or a client want to generate a report, this happens usually to my this Middle East clients and all. When this Middle East clients generate a reports using my their login IDs of the Primavera, any issue which is open, it will show it in the report. Automatically it comes into the report that this issue has been there and this issue is open. They will not go to the next step of discussion at all. The project will not be going to the next step until and unless all the issues either has to be closed. If not, issues have to be on hold, but issues cannot be open. What does this mean? Open means issue is still there. You haven't done anything you haven't done anything to that issue. So either the issue has to be, it's not that it has to be, but it's good practice that issues either have to be closed soon properly, finish it off, mitigate the problems and close the issues, or ensure that this issues are on hold, because we are not going to do it anything in between, or in between the projects, or these issues are something which can be avoided, so I'll just put it on hold. Alright, so ensure that any of these two things are there. But anyway, right now this project issue is just open. We have just identified there are honeycombs, and then the status is open. The next is priority. Again, you know what do you mean by this priority? Top, high, normal, low, lowest, and all the priorities of the these issues, whatever the issues they are. There's some high priority, there's some normal priority, or you can say it's a very high priority. That's called as top priority, and so on and so forth. There's some detail window. Same again, to change the name of that issue. Any responsible manager you want to add, you can add it here. Identified by it is taking admin because I'm using admin as a username and the password. But if you can use your username and the password by giving some names, then you'll be seeing it here. Identified date, when did we identify this issue. The status, open, close, and that's what we saw. Priority, and then there's something called as resolution date. When do you want to resolve this problem? Probably I'll give some date where it has been identified on 18th of July. I'll take some time. I'll say by 24th of July this issue has to be resolved. Okay, and then I'll go to this option called as details. I'll teach you what this threshold parameter. Will not look into this right now. There's something called as applies to, where this issue is applying to, then applies to which particular resource. For example, I'll bring some mason there. I'll click on some labor, and I brought that particular labors here. This is applies to this particular resource. This issue is applying to this resource, and for which particular activity. You said for which particular WBS it is applicable. Now I am telling specifically for which particular activity on which column. This is a column what you have selected. I'll say this is an activity, or after deshuttering there's an issue, or while curing we got to know, or wherever you want to concreting itself. I'll add this. This is an issue for this activity where applies to that particular activity. You want to have any notes, you can add, and you can type as much as any notes you want to give to make them understand what is all about this particular issue. There's an option called as columns here as well. You can see there's lots of other columns which we have not using it currently, but you can use these also. Issue notes, you can bring it down. Issue counts, how many issues are there, identified by whom. These all can be a columns. Identified date, baseline name which we are using, threshold, WBS path, so and so forth. These are the columns which you can use it on getting it on this side. Now next, what we have created an issue. We have created manually this issue, and then we have told this all stuff. Now when I go to this activity, can I see that here? Now you can see here we have general, status, resource, code, discussion, expenses, all this stuff, notes, WPS and all, but we do not have anything called as issues here. So how do I monitor now? So to monitor these issues, you have to go to this tools. In this tools, you have something called as issue navigator. Right? Issue navigator. When you click on this issue navigator, you can find these issues here. So it tells you this issues belongs to which particular activity. You can see here the moment I selected this issue, it will show you where. I'll select this and I'll select it here. Now on which particular activity the issues are. You can see it is changing. Now it is showing me that this concreting has this honeycomb problem, and for this accident happened on while doing this concreting activity. So there is it changes, and then for which WBS, it will show you on what particular WBS this problem has happened. Alright. Right. So then which is the resource which is responsible for it, then the issue details, then it will take you to the issue page to show you the details, right? And then when you say notify, it automatically take to your email page if your emails or outlooks are configured. Now what is happening, my Outlook has got configured, so it is asking my Outlook to come now. It is taking all my process there. Alright, it will not leave me now. Okay, anyway, you can see here on the background that email address, you can type the email address to whom you want to send an issue, the name, responsibility. You will have to add this automatically. It will come, recipients will come automatically when if your Primavera is synchronized to your any email server. Usually what happens, you can see here, this is my Outlook. You can see this, my Outlook 2016 is getting synchronized to this Primavera, or it is already synchronized. I just have to put it up. The moment it gets synchronized, all my recipients will come here. I can send an email directly to this box. I need not go to my Outlook box to send an email. The moment I take it here to the notification, I can add, you can say send all, or you can select and send. So the moment I add this, I can send the complete details. You can see this. I can send this all information, that what is an issue name, and who is responsible, what is your project baseline, status of it, who has identified, what is the priority, when the resolution dates are, which WBS it is applicable to, which activity is applicable to. All these options I can notify it. So notify in the sense, you are telling about this particular issue for that number of people, whom you are telling this to, right? So you are reporting about these issues. This is one way. There is another way of identifying an issues in your projects, that is by creating the thresholds. If you go to this project option, there is an option called as thresholds. Actually the meaning of threshold, right? I need not tell what do you mean by threshold, but just still, if you want to know, somebody who do not know, for them I am telling you what is threshold. Threshold, you are holding it, and the hold parameter, the threshold what you have is the upper and lower limit of a parameter. Anything beyond the parameter, or anything beyond that upper or the lower parameter, you will consider that it's a issue. I'll repeat, I'm into project thresholds. What this threshold will do, threshold, there are two words in it, thresh and the hold. Anything beyond this threshold, automatically it will create it as an issue. For example, excuse me, I'll add, you can see here I'm just clicking here and getting added a new threshold, and there are some threshold parameters which are there by default. These all other parameters will be there in your systems also by default. For example, I'll say cost variance, or anything, schedule variance, or total float, free float, start date variance, finish date variance, cost performance index, variance at completion. So anything, I'll just select one. I'll say cost variance, and if this cost variance is, or it is in dollars, actually I'll have to change that. Rather than that, I'll select CPI, cost performance index. Now this cost performance index, either if it is something lower threshold is 0, and upper threshold is say about 0.9 or 92, assume, or just give it as 90. So this is a lower threshold, this is a upper threshold. What do you mean by this? Anything between 0 to 9 as an cost performance index means either it should be 100%, 100, 0, right? Or to make you more understanding, because you people do not know what is CPI, it becomes difficult for you to understand what is 100, what is 0 and all. What I can show you is, okay, let me show you this start date variance itself, because it was there already, so I thought like I'll create something new. Let me explain you this. There's something called as start date variance. Start date means, you know, these are the start dates of an activities. Let me check. Yeah, here, right, this is a start date. Assume this is the 1st June 2019 is the start date of this activity. Now according to my condition, that start date variance says any lower threshold is 3 days, upper threshold is 4 days, means -3 to +4. If I say that this activity need to be started on 3rd June, -3 means 3 days before, 3 days early. If it starts, then still it's not a issue. I'll repeat. If I'm telling this activity June, if this activity starts 3 days early, if it is going to be starting on 3rd of June, and if it is starting 3 days early, still it is not considered as an issue, because it is -3 is still lower threshold. -3, -2, -1, 1, 2, 3, 4 means delaying this activity by 4 days is also not an issue. Starting this activity 3 days early is also not an issue. But anything beyond this parameter, means starting an activity 4 days early, is an issue. Delaying this activity after 4th day is also an issue. Understanding? You can create a parameter and you can tell what is an issue. This is not something which is default. Okay, we have given just some number. Say I'll say it's a -1, means starting 1 day early is also an issue. Delaying 2 days activity is also an issue. Anything below this and after this is an issue. It's a lower parameter and the upper parameter. Now who will monitor this? How it can be monitored? So what you have to do, the moment you, or I'll show some more thing into this, where you want to monitor this. I'll say this, I want to monitor it to the activity level, not to the WBS level. Responsible, again same thing. Where do you want to track it? It's enabled, disabled and all. This right now threshold is enabled, priority is high. And from where to where you want to, from where to where you want to monitor this. I'll repeat. Start date variance, okay, but from which activity to which activity? Either you can give the customized date, from this particular date to this particular date. If there is any activity which is going beyond this parameter, then identify it as an issue. You understanding? What we have given here, earliest project start date to latest project finish date, means from the first activity of the project till the last of the activity of the project. If any activity which are starting 1 day previously, early to the start date of the project or activity, and then 2 days, delaying it 2 days automatically have to be identified as an issue. Okay, so we have selected early start date and late finish date, and then after so much you will have to go to this option called as tools. In this option tools, you have issue navigator, monitor threshold. We have seen this issue navigator. I'm showing you this monitor threshold. I'll click on this monitor threshold, and now it is asking you from which particular date to which particular date you want to monitor, or use the original threshold monitor window. What is original threshold monitor window? You already have mentioned that early start date of the project to latest finish date of the project. So I'll go for user threshold, use the original threshold monitor. I'll say monitor. It says there are 6 issues were identified. You can see here there are 6 issues were identified automatically. So let me see which are those issues, on which particular activities those issues have happened. So I'll again go to this option called as tools. I'll go to issue navigator. You can see there are some WBSs where there's a issues have happened, or if you want to see it into a bigger screen, then you can go to the project threshold, project issues. You can see here on these all are the places where it has already identified as an issue. So it can identify the issue automatically also. Some issues which it cannot identify, that probably a technical issue, as I example I told you about this honeycomb. Your Primavera do not have a capabilities of looking for honeycombs to understand it's an issue. Accidents, issues, something related to the procurement processes, communication, um, regarding an issues with human resources, labors, I mean to. So these issues cannot be identified by Primavera, which you will have to identify manually and then you have to add it. But some issues, probably schedule variances, cost variances, impacts, liquidities, or productivity sheet problems, these are something which your Primavera can calculate automatically, for which you will have to create a parameter and leave. You just have to go to this monitor issues or monitor thresholds. The moment you go to the monitor threshold and then you say monitor, it will generate a report and tell you that how many issues are there. It will create those issues automatically, right? So that's what we saw here in this threshold. You can create these thresholds. There are parameters which are there by default. These are the parameters which are there by default. Total float can also be an issue. Any activity do not have or less than 2 days of float. If it has, then it automatically has to create an issue, because any activity which do not have any extra date, then probably that can create a bigger issue. So automatically this will identify as an issue. When you look into that activity, once it has been issued, it will give you only the identified date. Now as an engineer, you will have to go take that issue once it is generated, give the resolution dates of it, prepare a response plan for that particular issue, and then within the resolution date, approved resolution date, you will have to close the issue. Once the resolution date is, it will generate a report and tell you that this was a resolution date, so many issues were there. So there's a manager who will come and see that what happened to those particular issues. All the issues which was being generated or was open have to be closed. Means issues have to be resolved. Very simple. So project cannot be hand over until and unless all the issues which are been registered in Primavera statuses are closed. Any status of any activity on any activity, if the status is open, then you cannot submit that particular project. So you will have to be it's very important. You will have to register the issue, monitor the issue, ensure the issues have been closed on the resolution time, and then ensure you are updating that into a Primavera as well as the status is closed. Okay, so what did we do today? We did about user defined fields. We understood what is global change and how to do that. Then we learnt about creating an issues manually, and then we understood how do we assign issues through creating a project thresholds. So thresholds are also very important. So this is all about the 4 topics what we have learned today. Anything else